Hello guys, what's up? Today I'm going to talk to you about all the books I finished in August, including one I just finished a little while ago that has me in a mood. I will tell you what. So we're going to rank them from my least favorite to my most number one favorite. I read 5 books, so we're going to start at the bottom. And that is the one that I just finished. It's called Anywhere You Go. This book has me in a mood. Let me tell you something, okay? It's called Anywhere You Go, and it is by Bridget. All the stickers are covering her name. I think it's Bridget Morrison, or am I making that up? Bridget Morrissey. So this book's about these 2 women. They're both like in their late 20s. They switch houses for the week, and then it's just about whatever happens to them. I guess it's kind of like that movie The Holiday, but a retelling for some reason. I'm telling you, this book made me angry. Okay, I checked it out from the library. Because look at the cover. The cover's so cute. The little blurb on the back, I was like, oh, this sounds like it's going to be just a nice little story, right? And it started off fine enough. And then when they switched, it started just like annoying the bejesus out of me after they switched houses. Because then it became just like one of those stories that you see a million times on the Lifetime channel or Hallmark, where they go, one of them from the big city goes to a small town, and the small town goes to the big city. They meet someone there and immediately fall in love in 2 days or 3 days. And it's just like unbelievable, which is fine. Not every story has to be the most believable thing ever. But the author never made me really care about these people. There's one lady in this book named Dawn. She's like an actress. They're trying to get her back in the spotlight. She's the only likable person, likable person I cared about winning at the end of this book. The other characters are just so, they're all the same. There's 4 main characters. There's Carson, Eleanor, Tatum, and June. They're all exactly the same. I would never be able to tell them apart because they all talk exactly the same. It's like the author didn't think of giving them each their own voice. They all talk the same. They all are just one-liners, quips, and witty stuff. There's witty banter. That's all it is. All of their conversations are witty banter, trying to one-up each other with their wittiness and their quips, and it was driving me crazy because I'm like, there's no connection between any of these people. Why would I root for them? I don't find their love believable at all, especially 2 of them. So this story, I'm gonna get worked up, let me tell you. The story bounces back and forth each chapter between one and the other, and I found one story a lot more engaged, interesting than the other. And every time I switched to the other story, I was like, ugh. Like, I don't care what happens to these other 2 because their connection is so unbelievable. It's so unbelievable. I don't care what happens to them because I don't believe any of it. The other one seems to have a little more, I was rooting for them a little more because they have a little more of a history together. But the other 2, I did not care. I didn't care what happened to any of these people except Dawn. The way they talked to each other was so infuriatingly annoying because it was just quips. They're just trying to one-up each other, one-liners. None of them took anything seriously, and we have to believe they're in love with each other and they have a connection. It drove me crazy. And of course, all this happens in a week, or most of the bulk of the story's in a week, so it's like, 3 or 4 days, and then they're like, I want to move here and live with you forever. And it's just so annoying. And it wouldn't be so bad if I cared about the characters or the author made me feel like they had a genuine connection, because I'm fine. That's cool. I love that. But they didn't have a connection. It drove me crazy. So there was this line here that I put down the book and I went, this book, it wouldn't stop making me mad. So these people just met, right? It's been 3 or 4 days. 3 or 4 days. And this girl didn't even stay the whole week. She left early. And this is how she feels about the person she met in her small town. It says, and that by knowing you, I will know myself better because somehow you already feel like an extension of who I am or who I'm meant to be, maybe. You feel like the rest of me. At that point, I was like, I'm going to see this book all the way through. I'm going to see it through. I'm going to be cranky when it's over. I hated this book so much. I rated it a 1.75 on my Fable thing because I've been keeping track of the books I read on Fable, and this was annoying. The only reason I liked it is because of Dawn. I was like, put more Dawn in this story. Freaking annoying. I don't like it. I don't want to read anything else by that lady. Okay, let's move on to lighter fare. I didn't hate any of the other books I read this month, but coming in at number 4 is The Unsinkable, Gretta James. I got this from the Dollar Tree, and I got it because it looked amazing. It looked like it was in perfect condition, and I thought the story was interesting enough where I was like, oh, I'll read that for $1.50. Heck yeah, I'll read that. And I liked this, but it's not one that I probably would ever reread or like feel a connection with. So unless I feel like I want to hug this book when I'm done with it, I don't really feel like I need to keep it. You know, I want to go put it in one of those little libraries. Anyway, that's how I feel about this. I'm probably not going to reread it or feel like a connection. I didn't feel like it sat with me after I finished it. So anyway, this is about Gretta James. She's like an indie singer-songwriter, guitar player, and her second album is about to come out. And she had a little bit of a meltdown on stage, and they keep building up what this meltdown is. It ended her career and everything's over for her. She squandered all of her gifts, and they made it out to be such a big deal. And then when they finally revealed the meltdown she had on stage, it was like, oh, like that's nothing. Why is she making it a big deal? I have no idea. Anyway, she takes like 2 months off from the spotlight. She pushes back her album release, and she goes on a 7-day cruise with her dad and their parents' friends. And so most of this book takes place over those 7 days. There's a little tiny bit at the end that is afterwards, but almost all of it is just on the cruise. And it was fine. Like, I found it fine. I did tear up 2 times, okay? I'm saying it's fine, but I teared up twice, and one time a tear rolled down my cheek, okay? The ending was not what I expected at all, because stories like this always feel like you could predict the ending a mile away, but this one I didn't. I did not predict this ending. I thought it ended super well. The ending brought a tear to my eye. But one thing that, again, was so infuriating with this book is she's, I think, in her early 30s, and her dad have this relationship that would make my blood boil. So they don't see eye to eye. He doesn't support what she does for a living, and she doesn't like that he doesn't support her, and they have this like butting heads the whole entire time, and it's so infuriating to read because it's like, get over it, get over it. I felt myself yelling to myself, get over it, like just shut up already. Like, it drove me crazy the way they would talk to each other. It made my chest all tense listening to them talk like that, like they're both so stubborn and so hard-headed. It was infuriating to read, but I'm sure there are like parents and kid relationships that are like that. So it made me feel a lot of feelings. Anyway, one thing I did feel though is that it was written very straightforward, which is fine. There was no room for interpretation. It was very like perfectly laid out on beginning, middle, end, you know, wrapped up in a bow ending there. And I feel like the author wrote this hoping it would get turned into a movie. And then, because that's how I read it, I was like, this reads like an early 2000s movie that would have went straight to the theaters with Cameron Diaz and, I don't know, some guy. And then after I was reading it, I was like, you know what, this seems like the author was really hoping this would get turned into a movie. So she wrote it kind of straightforward, no room for interpretation. There's no way you can misinterpret the book. And then I read, she actually had a couple of her books turned into movies. So I thought that's why she wrote it that way, because she's like, this is a surefire movie. And I could see this being turned into a movie. I think it would be good and watchable. Now it'd probably go straight to streaming than to theaters. I liked it enough. I think I gave it a 3.5, but I don't like it enough to keep it. Like, I didn't sit, like Gretta James did not sit with me after I finished this, but I liked it. I'm going to keep it because I have one more video I want to do about books I've read from the Dollar Tree, and I did see this there again yesterday. But it was fine. It was fine. A little bit of like a rom-com vibes, like early 2000s rom-com, Cameron Diaz type of thing. Like, that's how I was reading it. Not bad, but it didn't blow my mind, you know? Okay, the next book was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This book took me so long to finish because I just found it unbelievable. Again, I don't need to believe everything in the book. Sometimes you just kind of have to just go, oh, that's just how it happened, or it just all worked out, or how did that happen? You don't question it, it just happened. But this book, I just kept finding it unbelievable. So it's this girl, Pip. She's a senior in high school, and for her senior project, she decides to look into a murder, disappearance type thing that happened with someone that went to her school 5 years earlier. And her and another classmate team up on it, and they start like investigating it and stuff. And one thing that I found just so unbelievable, and it took me forever to get into this book, because every time she came across somebody that she wanted to interview and ask about details of this murder and their involvement in it, I kept saying to myself, everyone in this book is a stupid idiot, okay? If all of these people have something to hide and they're close to this murder and someone's coming, snooping around, asking questions, asking, can I record this interview? Every single person tells her yes, and they all talk to her. And I'm like, why? If you're close to a murder and you have something to hide, which every single person in this book does, why are they talking to this girl that's doing an investigation on it for a school project or not? I was furious with all these people. I was like, all of these people are stupid idiots. Why are they talking to her if they have something to hide? Why would they even want to reopen it? Nobody ever tells her, I'm not interested, I don't want to be part of that, don't talk to me again. Every single one of them does, and it made me just feel like that's unbelievable. Most people would not want to talk to her if she's investigating something that they got away with, you know? All the people in this book were so stupid. I just found it so unbelievable. I don't know. That said, about halfway through the book, it became a page turner. A page turner, and like the last third, I was tense. It was fast paced. I did not see the ending coming at all, because of course with a book like this you keep thinking you know who the murderer is, or who like the bad guy is, or the bad girl, and you never guess who it is. It's twisty, it's turny. It was not who I expected in a million years. It was good halfway through, but I just found the story so unbelievable. Again, I don't want to read anything else from Holly Jackson, but I'm glad I read it because I think this is a very, very popular book. Okay, coming in at number 4, Heartstopper. This is Heartstopper Volume 1. I did buy all of them. I think I have 4. I think there's more than 4, but I bought the 4 that were available. Got them all like super cheap on eBay. This is the nicest book ever. It's so sweet. Oh my gosh, it's the way that it is illustrated is just so cute. Like, look how it's written. It's like a comic strip style. And the way that this author or the illustrator, I don't know if it's the same person that's drawing and writing, the way that they're doing it is so beautiful. The way they look at each other. It's about these two kids. They're in high school together. They become fast friends. And then they kind of just become more than best friends, and they kind of think they might have feelings for each other. And it is just so freaking good. I flew through this even though I kept wanting to like linger, and I was like, no, I need to make each page last as long as possible, because the way that it's written, each page is like a 30-second read, you know? So you'll read this whole thing in just one sitting in like 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So that's, I think, how I read it that first time. It's just so good. Seeing them, even just their friendship, is so heartwarming and so beautiful. This deserves all the praise it gets. I immediately opened up the second one, and then I put it away because I thought, no, don't fly through it so fast. Just let it sit, read something else for a minute, and then go into the next one. So I thought, maybe I'll read the next one next month or something. But these two are so cute, and I freaking loved this. There were so many like panels that I kept staring at, like the way that they drew them looking at each other and interacting with each other is so cute. There's nothing wrong with this. It's a really super sweet, heartwarming story, and it's just good. It's so good. Their friendship is so beautiful. Loved this. This was a 5-star right here. And then the last book I read, this book blew my mind. It blew my mind wide open. I can't believe people write like this. It was Misery by Stephen King. 5-star, 6-star, 10-star read right here. I loved every single page of this book. I loved everything about this book. I was scared, I was terrified, I was tense. I felt like myself holding my breath when I was reading it. It made me genuinely scared. And the ending, especially like towards the end, like I felt like my heart was racing. It was so freaking good. So it's about this author, Paul Sheldon. He gets into a car accident and his #1 fan happens to see him there, and she drags him to her house and she's taking care of him and she's going to nurse him back to health. And then of course nothing goes as planned. It's a crazy experience. I don't know if you've ever heard of this or seen the movie or anything, but I'm not going to spoil it. But of course she's not just trying to nurse him back to health, and she also wants him to write her favorite story that he writes, which is called Misery. And it's called Misery, but it's like a series of books he writes and the main character's name is Misery. And she wants him to write another book with her favorite character. So he's trying to finish the book, and there's so much in this book. There's so many little things going on at the same time. His internal monologue is so good. His reasons for wanting to finish the book are incredible. This book blew my mind in every possible way. I cannot believe how freaking good it was. Like, this is a book afterwards I was like, I'm not ready to let go of Misery. This so far has been, I think, my favorite book I've read since I started really reading. And then immediately got obsessed with Stephen King. I was like, what else has Stephen King written? I want to read it all. But this was one of those books, after I read it, I was like, I love it. No, you know what? The Running Grave, I think, was also one of my #1 favorites of the year so far. But this was so good. And then I made a mistake and I watched the movie, or attempted to, like an hour later. The movie pales in comparison in every single way. If Kathy Bates got an Oscar for that movie, Toni Collette was robbed of an Oscar for Hereditary, because the performance, she was good casting, and I kept picturing her as I was reading this, but Paul Sheldon I didn't picture. They didn't put any of the tension. I wasn't scared whatsoever watching the movie. They didn't include most of the crazy stuff that happens in that house. I wish they had really just like gone for it and made it like a horror fest, but they didn't. There was no tension in that movie whatsoever. This though, I was scared. I was so scared of Annie. She's so scary. Like, she's got to be one of the best villains ever. She's so good. I wish they had just went for it with the movie, you know. But the book, incredible. And then I became one of those people that was like, that's not in the movie. That's not in the book. That's not in the book. That person's not in the book. It didn't happen like that. Why would they do that? That wasn't in the book. But the movie pales in comparison. On its own, it was fine. I think I gave it like a 6. I would never rewatch it. But this, I would reread when I want to torture myself, because Annie was freaking scary. Annie's his #1 fan. If you've read it, let me know. I need someone to talk to about that book, because it was easy 5 stars. Anyway, we went from being infuriated because I hated the book so much to being one where I was like, I'm not ready to let it go. I want to carry it around with me. Anyway, that's that. Let me know some books you read this month or just recently. I would love to know. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to, and I will see you again in another video. Goodbye.